Yeah, Gemini, I got you all day. Although I'm Uncle Daddy, I don't know what to tell you. So story time. Both of you, I think, will definitely have feedback on this. I typed it out called Using Trolls to Educate Others. So I do a channel called 1EMS over on TikTok. It goes with everything that I'm doing with my charity and everything else. And I'm leaning more into being me there. Now, I've been putting up clips from the interviews that I do at conferences and really just trying to change the thought processes of in and out of the industry of emergency medicine. And in emergency medicine, you get the whole kind of vitriol. Just Star Wars fans wearing a uniform, okay? You get just all kind of vitriol in there. And I knew, even hearing it in the interview, okay, if you say money doesn't lead to happiness, somebody, actually a lot of somebody's going to try to rail you because, but they don't pay us enough, which is true. We're underpaid. It's a thing. But instead of being martyrs, which what our industry loves to do is, we're horrible. I'm trying to elevate that conversation. It's like, let's look at something better. Let's talk about how do we get something better. And so I engaged with all the comments, and I got a comment that said that's like, that's the most corporate thing. So blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they were pooping on it. So I tried to come in cordially and be like, okay, well, what you just said about private EMS never being able, that's misinformed. And here's where you're thinking, and this part's right, and here's where this thing is. But we have to talk. Money makes everything work. We have to make money. This business. There's just no hero in starving yourself and your family. And the tag, I won't tell that, but had angry in it. Is an angry person. I mean, they put it in their name. And they're like, no, what you should do is being blah, blah, blah. So he's trolling, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to try this feature on TikTok. I've never used it. I'm going to put the comment up on the screen, and I'm going to respond to it. Not because I want to engage with a troll, but because I want to use that as a bounce off to go, we need to change. And, of course, when you use a comment, I auto tags them. And I did a video today for 1EMS, and I used a comment. I was like talking about how this drives me crazy. And essentially, you don't go to work for free. You don't. So this idiotic 1980s corporations are evil. And worse than that, it seems like we want to complain that we're not getting paid enough. We want to complain that we're overworked. But then we want to complain that if somebody wants to make some money, that's wrong. And it's somehow honorable to starve and be on your third marriage, and your kids don't talk to you, and you can't afford your house, and you're about to be destitute, but it's honorable because you're serving your community. So I try to address all of that. First, he was the first comment. I haven't gone back to look. Of course, tagged him. He's like, all caps, right? That's the most corporate thing I've ever heard. I'm sitting wearing this hoodie, which is my cozy hoodie, by the way. It's a stained up gray hoodie I've had for like 20 years that I don't really wear out in public, but I was wearing it and I'm sitting on my bench in my yard. The most uncorporate thing I could do. And yeah, so I blocked him and banned him. But I wanted to bring it to you guys I think it is fairly obvious in internet days, you don't feed the trolls. If you the second you pop that, I expected that. I was waiting for it. Now I can block you and delete the comment because it's very much just more bait. But what do you think about that mindset of using an obvious bait or an obvious person that's not going to listen? They're just going to argue, but to try to educate others that will listen.
Well, and we talked a little bit about this but pre-show because we were talking about just controversial topics in general. You've got to go about it with the mindset of you're not trying to win, because when you try to win a conversation, which is often what trolls are trying to do, you're not listening. And so, but it definitely can lead to a teaching moment for everyone else who is willing to listen. And so, like, for instance, when I served a mission for my church, a proselyting mission, I had a guy who wanted to debate every little finer detail, and he didn't want to. And I say debate. He didn't really want to debate. He just wanted to say, "This is what the Bible says." Blah blah blah. And so I took that as an opportunity because there were a couple of other people in the room to address his different concerns and talk about the stance of our church on these specific things. And one of them actually pulled me off to the side afterwards, and because they were related to him. I can't remember if it was her husband or something, but she pulled me off to the side afterwards as we were leaving and said she expressed her thanks for hearing that side. It did nothing for the guy that was arguing with us, I guarantee that, but you never know who else you can touch with what you're teaching.
Because you go ahead, Kurt.
No. Well, no, go ahead and make your point. Because
I know in fighting and you never elevate the conversation by fighting, and that's the instant vibe and thought I had as soon as I saw that comment. I for a split second wanted to engage, but I was like, okay, no. Then all the world sees it, and they're going to move on. The world's going to move on, so I'm doing is fighting. But I executed my purpose, and I thought about it for days. Like I told my wife, I'm doing it. She's like, "Don't do it." It's like, no, I'm not going to rip off. I'm going to think about the different points. I'm going to form a story in my head. And I was proud of myself. I didn't ramble on this one. I hit my points. I didn't quite hit them in the order I thought I would in my head, but I caught myself in the moment and nailed the point that I wanted to make and move on, because fighting does no good. But like you were saying, Joe, if you could say, hey, thanks for saying something. I was at another EMS meeting very quickly, and this guy was just going on, and I finally just interrupted him. I'm sorry. If we call our EMS, if we call ourselves redheaded stepchildren, we will never be adults in this world. We have to stop saying that crap and have standards and hold ourselves accountable and stand up like adults. And then later at lunch the next day, I had what you had, Joe. So I go, thank you for saying something. And that was it. There was no fight. It was just a statement. But it's hard to elevate a conversation when people don't want to talk. But Kurt, you definitely have something.
Yeah. So I got my taste of trolls when I was doing a lot of TikTok live stuff. Because there's a lot of little come in to punch. Like literally, I had a troll come in, and as I was talking, it just literally said the words, "You're going to die," and that was like the extent.
Was this during your weight loss vlogs? Is that what it was?
Well, but this was like I would go live at night also, above and beyond doing my regular videos. So
okay.
So when you say don't engage, I actually take a completely different tact on that, and I fully engage. What I don't do, and I think it's more where you're coming from, what I don't do is go on the defensive. Like that's not anything that I engage with that is being defensive about. Like I'm not trying to defend myself against whatever nonsense they commented. What I do engage with, and it throws them, is when that guy said, "You're going to die." I said, "Oh, well, yeah, eventually, but what makes you say that?" And he said something, and I don't even remember what it was. I said, "So, what's weird is you don't know me, and you don't know what I've done or what my journey is," because we were talking weight loss, and I said, "So what makes you think that?" And I think he said something to the effect of, "Well, you don't exercise." I said, "Well, how do you know? Like, you clearly don't watch any of my videos, or else you know that I do." And at the time, I was walking 2 or 3 miles a day, at a good clip. And literally, I went back and forth. Like I was answering his questions and whatnot. And I found that over time, most of the people who came in to troll me, fully half to 3/4 of them ended up following me afterwards.
Engaging is good. I mean, you like feed. You don't feed the trolls.
Right,
defensive. You said the word defensive. Yeah, you don't like,
because that's where it comes from. When people get all ticked off and feel the need to like post a separate video to address this troll. No. Like you can engage in the moment because they're live and they're right there, and you can have a back and forth, maybe, or they disappear. Like one or the two happen, because usually they come in, they punch, and they have no follow up. Like they're just looking for the shock factor. The other thing that really put direction to the way that I respond to trolls is somebody, and I don't remember who said it, but I've taken it to heart because I fully believe it. Trolls, I just feel bad for, because people who are full of joy don't do that. They don't do that, right? That's just, joyful people do not troll. That makes no sense. So if you're trolling and you find that that's the only way that you can get your hit of dopamine and feel better about yourself, there's something else going on. And so I feel sorry for them, and genuinely sorry for them. Like part of the reason why I would engage is because I want to actually see if I can have a conversation, and just see maybe there's something more there. And so and honestly, with a lot of them, what ended up being is they'd come in, they'd hit, and you find out that they're overweight. They've been unsuccessful in trying to lose weight. Mm-hmm. And so they're just lashing out because that's how they feel better about themselves. And that's not 100%, but I found a fair amount of people who were like that. So I don't know. The troll thing, I used to get angry at them, and now I just feel sad for them. Because again,
you're right.
If you're so devoid of joy that's how you have to get your quote unquote happiness, well, one, that's not real happiness. And two, I just feel sorry for you.
Yeah, no, that damage, devoid of joy, all that plays in 100%. I mean, all through the stories, Joe, you're talking about the guy who, the Bible's, he has to scream that at you because he's doubting something in his life. He's not understanding something. He's broken. Instead of, getting help, he yells at people. Same in EMS. There's a lot of people who become EMTs. The standard, I swear to you, I taught for 6 years, and I was one of the intake professors, and because it takes time to do paperwork, so I'd ask them every time, what got you, what makes you want to do EMS? And I'd have to say, you can't say to help people because that's the answer every single time. So, but you can help people in other ways. But there are people who cannot help themselves that will do this job. And I think that's one of the ways I started, was I felt like I needed help, so I'm going to help other people. But you do have to heal. You have to get better, because that lashing out, that anger, that whatever is causing you to go into a random dude's live stream on TikTok to yell at him to see if you can take him down. That's how we're here to help that.
Yeah.
As best we can. And it depends on the situation. Like when I'm doing my 1EMS stuff, if it's one-on-one, I'm here to help you. If it's videos or speeches, I am trying to change the mindset of the world who doesn't know what EMS is. Every time I talk about it, I feel like I have to say emergency medicine, ambulance people, that kind of thing, and just so many people don't, and that's not the time to come in and go, well, you just want money. It's like, you don't? I'm sorry. You want to go starve? Go starve. Why? I'm sorry, I'm getting on a soapbox. I'll stop.
Yeah.
It wasn't about that. It wasn't about that. It was about the engaging. And I did take that page out of our buddy Stoner Gump's book, where not his little book, but his playbook of how he does his videos, is he will take a troll, somebody negatively engaging, and say in his own way, basically, sorry you feel that way. Sorry, to your point, Kurt, it's not sorry you're that unhappy with your life, but here's what we did. Here's how you made a lot of assumptions out of your anger. And so I'm like, cool, I want to try it, because I really feel like there's a message here that I can put out. And speaking of, he called me the other day. He wants to get back on the show. So we need to figure that out here soon.
Awesome.
I don't think you were on with him at DragonCon, but you weren't on with him with an official show.
I think
it was just you and I.
I think it was a replacement.
Yeah.
Now it is Wise and Nerdy After Dark. We give a little warning statement on that one when we have him on, but cool stuff.
Yeah. So the only thing I want,
he get his face on this screen or no waving.
It's Kelsey. She just got back from her little fun time.
Get your popcorn later, woman. We're almost done. Jeez.
The only thing I wanted to add to that is because the original question had to do with educating others. And so I think that as creators, if we're the ones going live and dealing with the trolls, I think the education doesn't come just from trying to educate the trolls, but also how do you handle trolls. Because traditionally, people who go live and more, not even go live, but are considering themselves creators, creating videos, they often don't know how to handle trolls. And so they get all weirdly defensive. But if they see people handling that different, that is a way to educate others.